Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Charles from the channel Books on Stereo, and I'm here to bring you guys a really special interview. I have the Aleatha Romig, who Steph has been telling me to read for months, if not years at this point. And I don't know what took me so long because I started with the first trilogy and I just binged all the way through. I remember I messaged Steph
Wow.
one day. I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna start with Patrick's book," and then she's like, and then I said "Wait, I feel like I need more context around the world." And then Steph messaged me as soon as she saw the review. She's like, "I told you to start from the beginning." So thank you so much, Steph, for telling me to read these books, and we're gonna be talking about the Sparrow Web Saga today. So, Aleatha, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on my channel. The first question I wanted to ask you is, what kind of drew you into writing romance, or have you always been a romance reader?
No, I haven't. I was a thriller reader. John Grisham and Greg Iles. I really like thrillers. I decided to try to write something, and I thought I wrote a thriller, which was Consequences. But the romance world kind of adopted me, and they fell in love with the person who they weren't supposed to fall in love with, and they kind of pulled me in, and I didn't enter kicking and screaming. I'm very happy to be in the romance world.
Oh, that's amazing. Kind of like how you kind of segue in through the thriller, because I can see with this Sparrow website, there's a little bit of thriller mystery kind of plot twisty turny aspect to those books, and I was like, wait, I just realized book one. By the time you get to book three, I'm like, in the trilogy, I'm like, how did we even from that first book? My mind is blown. I'm like, how do you do it?
Well, thank you.
So
I really do try that. I try to kind of do romantic thrillers. I like to have a lot of mystery and twists and turns in my book.
and so
Oh
jumping
yeah.
into the Sparrow. Oh, sorry, Steph, were you gonna say something?
Oh no, I was just gonna say that the Consequences series, when I recommend it to people, I always tell them this is like a psychological thriller, and then once the series starts to move on, then it becomes a romantic suspense, and there's lots of twists and turns, and it's just mwah.
Consequences needs to come with a disclaimer, yes. So thank
Very
you.
It's okay, Steph. I think she'll give you the whole rundown of all your books. Like, if you start with this book, disclaimer, you need to know this and this and this about this book. But if you want to start with this book, Steph is my go-to. If I need to go okay, where do I need to go next with Aleatha? And Steph will okay, you need to go here. You need to read the series, and then you need to come back and tell me your thoughts because I will stalk you on Goodreads for your reviews.
Well, that's why I love you, Steph. Thanks.
You're welcome.
So how did this whole world kind of come to you when you started writing the Sparrow Web Saga? Did you always know it was going to be four separate trilogies?
No, I'm not a plotter. So I don't really, I'm trying to get myself in the center of the screen, and I cannot figure out why I'm not there. There I am. I'm not a plotter, so I had no idea. I knew that I was going to write Sterling and Arani's story, and then it just kind of blossomed from there. It worked out. I hadn't planned it to work out to have four guys, but it did, and I couldn't be happier with the way they all intertwined. And if you made it to the very end, I love the way it all ended and all came together. I feel bad saying goodbye to them, but I love that they all have their own story. It's not four trilogies that are exactly the same with different names. They each have their own story, and yet their stories all intertwined too. So, it's just worked out better than I ever imagined.
I think us fans had a little bit of a hand in that extra trilogies because we were loving your guys, and we definitely reached out and were like,
well, I listen when people talk about how much they love them. I listen. I think the second trilogy, which at this point it's not a secret because I actually say that it's Kadar Mason, threw people off because you don't realize when you're reading the second trilogy that it's really part of it, because as far as they know, Mason's dead. So it makes it like you're coming into this and you don't even, as a reader, actually kind of get that, oh my gosh, that's who he is, until You might get it in the first book, but second book it's a little more obvious, and in the third book it's very obvious. But yeah, so that was kind of fun to have him come like back from the dead.
Oh yeah, that's really cool.
Everybody
Like,
wanted Patrick's story. I was gonna say everybody wanted Patrick's story. So I think that some people were disappointed I didn't do Patrick's second, because they all loved Patrick in the first series. But I kind of think making people wait a little bit longer for Patrick made you appreciate Patrick's story a little more.
I agree. As someone who started with Patrick's story and then started from the beginning and worked my way back up and then finished the series, I appreciated Patrick way more. The second trilogy is still my favorite. Like, that whole like, I'm gonna kidnap you because like the whole government conspiracy, the whole like the drug that they would use for PTSD. I thought it was so interesting. So I was just nerding out on the science, and then the romance. I was like, hoo, hoo, hoo. I was like, Sparrow, y'all thought you were doing something, but this trilogy, and then Patrick's trilogy, I was like, oh, okay. This is like, things are like heating up a little bit too quickly for me.
Well, Patrick's story went into a lot more into the trafficking, which was what is kind of like the overall arch of the entire whole series is the human trafficking. But Patrick's story gets into it a lot more. But honestly, you asked me if I planned on being a writer. My degrees are in science. So not that I could ever do what Dr. Laurel does, but I love throwing that kind of stuff in there. And also, my nephew served two tours in Iraq, and then I have a good friend who is in the National Guard. And between the two of them, they really helped me with the military stuff because I'm not military, and I didn't want to do it bad. I wanted to do it well. So I had people helping me who could really help me figure out this subversive group that I put together and what would happen and if maybe.
Yeah, as a veteran, I definitely am very, very picky with my military inserts of romance. I was like, I didn't even have to worry about that. I mean, I was already a huge fan anyways, and you probably could do no wrong. But I definitely, if the military hadn't been done properly, I probably would have been like,
Well, tell me if it's not. I mean, but like I said, I really did. I mean, I took this to them and had them help me a lot. And I started to name them at the end in my acknowledgments. And then I was told that maybe I shouldn't actually name them. So I just said, thank you to, this, and I gave their ranks, but I didn't give their names because I was told that maybe that wasn't a good idea. I didn't want to cause them any problem.
And how much research did you do in terms of like the sex trafficking aspects of the whole entire saga? Did you do a lot of research into that before kind of writing it?
I seem to have locked. Can you guys see me? There we go. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, sorry. I gotta sit. How much research did I do? I did a bit of research, but I also did research via fiction. I mean, things that I've watched on television, basically like Criminal Minds and more like, oh goodness, the one, not CSI, but the other one. I don't watch a lot of those shows, but I used to a long time ago. And so by putting all that together with the research that I did, I tried to make it as real as possible. And my main goal, though, was to not give the human trafficking any romance. I didn't want to make it out like that was a romance, because that wasn't, I mean, that was traumatic, and that was not the romance. And that's what I wanted to show. I mean, I love some books that use it as the romance, but that wasn't where I was going with it.
You could definitely feel the cinematicness of the entire saga altogether. You can see the layers as they continually get piled on and everything like that, especially I think with the last or last trilogy. It really brought everything all together and closed out so well.
Thank you. Did you Reed and Lorna well? I mean, they were there from the very beginning, and so they were kind of like the steadfast people. And I at first was really afraid. I didn't want to make their story old hat. I wanted it to be that, you know, to show how they were important to the group too. Even though they were the ones that were always back at the tower, they were the ones who you could count on all the time. I wanted them to know and everybody else to know how important they were to everybody.
In many ways, I felt they were like the glue to the whole outfit. I mean,
yeah, really,
they were the ones that brought all of it together. Even though Sparrow is like the king, you know, but Reed and Lorna are the ones that kind of take those pieces and make sure that they stay together. They're the ones that were like, we need to talk about things throughout the entire saga. And I loved that. Loved it.
Well, I mean, honestly, I didn't go back to reread everything, but I mean, I had things coming back to me as I was writing where, like, Arania talks to Lorna and says, you know, I remember when you told me this when I first got here and how important that was. So, I mean, it was, I mean, you know, bringing it all that they had been important even in the beginning, even if they weren't in the spotlight.
So,
but I do have a secret for you.
Oh.
Hold up.
I don't plot. You ready? There was something that came out in the second series or the second trilogy that I didn't know in the first trilogy. You want to know what it is?
Yes.
Because we're trying to figure it out.
I had no idea that Mason and Lorna were brother and sister.
Really?
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 Wow.
I thought it was like a twist you already had like in your back pocket.
Yeah.
No. It wasn't until I was writing the second trilogy that it occurred to me that how would Lorna get there? How would she get into the tower? In the very beginning, I mean, Sparrow wouldn't have let her in there even if she and Reed were involved. So there had to be a reason to get her in the tower when she got in there very early on. So that's when it came to me. So I did go back and look through Web of Sin to make sure I didn't not say that or made something out that it wasn't like that. But I did. The only thing that I found was Lorna and Arania are talking, and Lorna just says, he told you about Mason. And she says, yes. And Arania asks for more information, and she says, that's his story to tell. So that was the only conversation really where Lorna said anything. But in hindsight, if she's saying it's his story to tell because they still thought Mason was dead, and Sterling was so upset about his death. So she never mentioned that he's her brother, and you don't really realize that until the second trilogy. But it comes out big in the fourth one, obviously.
Yes.
Very much so.
Wow. I did not. I thought like that was like already was like the discovery like a Sparrow having like a half sibling. In Patrick's
didn't know that one
either.
either.
Know that one?
Nope.
What?
Well, okay. I was writing Patrick's story, and I had lunch with a good friend of mine, who's a big reader, and she and I were brainstorming things, and she was the one who actually came up with that idea, or that they were related. She didn't say sisters, but that they were related or siblings. And so then when I wrote it and I sent it to her, she sent me back this, oh my gosh, I never expected that. And I was like, you were the one who gave me the idea. But so anyway, she didn't remember giving me the idea, but I thought it was a good one. And it was good to connect them. And it also, I liked it because it kind of, it fit. I just was thrilled with it once it all came together.
Wow.
So I would love to know if you use fan names in your books on purpose.
Well, I will tell you that I had a Stephanie problem in the trilogy.
Yes.
I did. No, I had a Stephanie problem because his secretary's name or his assistant's name is Stephanie. Sterling's is. But then the woman who was trying to kill him was named Stephanie.
Yep.
And so in the final trilogy, my editor kept taking out the assistant's name and just calling her his assistant because she thought it would be confusing to have two Stephanies. And I'm like, there's more than one, Aleatha out there in the world. There's more than one Stephanie, more than one Charles. And she's like, yeah, we can't do this. And I'm like, well, there's nothing I can do about it. They're already named. I mean, I can't change their name. We just never referred to his assistant as Stephanie in the third book. So there we go.
I totally caught that. I was like, wait, my name's in the book.
Yeah.
I feel bad that I didn't catch it when I was reading that. I was like, is that a reference to Steph?
Well, it's up to you which Stephanie you want to be.
I'm the assistant. I'm definitely the assistant.
Okay.
I was like, Steph, are you going to go for the assassin?
Well, one of the guys, I think it was probably Mason, said to Sterling that there's only two women that put up with you, and it was Arania and Stephanie. So you can be the assistant.
And I have to ask you, how do you manage, like, the way you construct your whole trilogies is so fascinating, because I love, like, after reading the third book, kind of looking back at where you started in the first book and how you managed to leave each book off with like a cliffhanger. How do you manage that? Because I feel like with some romance trilogies, like that second book is usually just like more like filler, and usually nothing ever happens. But each book that you have, I'm like seeing him like these plot twists are like making my brain explode. Like I know, like by the time I get to the third book, I'm like, how did we even get here? Like what? Like just like reveal after reveal. I'm like, I'm gonna trust you. I can't predict what's gonna happen because like obviously I'm gonna be so wrong. So I was wondering, like, how do you manage that? Like it's just brilliant.
Well, I appreciate that. Honestly, I mean, I just try to keep the story going, and obviously, I want to end at a spot. I mean, I saw something today on Facebook where it's just a marketing ploy. Well, yeah, because I want you to buy the next book. I don't want you to be so satisfied with the first book that you're not going to go on and finish the trilogy. But I want to keep giving you new information in each book. I've never felt like my second book was a filler. Even I have a 5-book series, the Infidelity Series. I don't feel like any of those books are fillers. I mean, there's something new in every book, and they all work together to get to the end. I mean, I've gotten a few reviews that are like the Infidelity Series should be 2 books, and I'm like, okay, what am I going to drop out of there? I don't know what you want me to leave out. But I mean, I really do try to not do fillers. I mean, I really try to keep the story moving the whole time. I'll tell you what, my new release coming up is a duet, and I will tell you it was hard. It was hard for me to do it in 2 books because I have like these little side, like, oh, I could tell them this, and I'm like, no, I don't have time.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, so I'm still thrilled with the duet, but it was more difficult. I kept saying, if this was a trilogy, I could do this, and Jeff was getting more tired of
I was a little bit shocked. I was like, is this really a duology? Is there not like a third book, like just secretly like you're waiting to announce?
No, because I want everyone to know that it is a duet because everybody expects trilogies from me. And a lot of people out there are like, oh, I don't want to start until, the second book is out and the third book is coming. And I'm like, no, there's only 2. Like there are only 2. They're completely written. The second one will be going to Audible this coming week to be recorded, so it'll be ready for release. So, so they're hopefully, and that's up to Audible. I sell my rights, and when they don't come out simultaneously, I can't do anything about it. But my contract says they're supposed to. So, yeah. Well, I do have, it has a little, my prequel. I don't know. I'm not moving. There's my, whoa, there it is. There's my prequel. Okay. But it's just teeny. It's just a fun, quick read. But then there's book 1. And it's a full book.
I cannot wait to. Is it? I was wondering, like, is it any way connected to the Sparrowverse, or is this like in a completely its own?
Nope.
Oh, I was
Completely its own world. I mean, I love the Sparrowverse. I really do. But I wanted to make a clean break and start something new. So this is brand new. Mm-hmm.
So do you make it a point to do Easter eggs only in, say, like your short stories or your prequels, or do you like to drop Easter eggs throughout your series just to give your fans a little extra something?
That's just new to me. I never did Easter eggs until trying to think what is it? It's in the Sparrow. It's the Dangerous First Kiss. Yeah, when they go to that ball. And then, I mean, the thing is if you haven't read the other books, people have no idea who those people are. But it was a lot of fun to put Charlie in there and to have Tony or have Claire show up sitting at the table. So, I mean, some of my readers, I mean, I got some awesome PMs, or direct messages. They were like, oh my gosh, Claire was there.
Yes.
So that's really the first time I've done it. I will say that there is something, and even my kids didn't catch it. It's in Angel's Promise, and there's just a reference to something that happened in Chicago, and it happened in the Sparrow World. But that's it. I mean, it's just somebody saying, hey, something like that happened in Chicago, and this is what happened with them. But it's not really connecting them.
Okay. And
so there's a little Easter egg. It's just kind of like a little tiny egg. What was that?
I was gonna say, one thing I love about the Sparrow Saga is that it takes place in Chicago, and as a Chicago native, like I love that so much. I was like, I can see this all happening in Chicago. Like this is not that far fetched. I was like, it's Chicago. I just like love that because I was like, finally my city is like being like represented more and more in literature. So I was like, were you always intending on setting the series in Chicago?
Yeah, I'm from Mishawaka, which is over by South Bend. So I grew up an hour and a half away from Chicago. So we went to Chicago all the time. I love Chicago. I mean, my school did field trips when I was a little girl. We went to Chicago. I mean, we went to the Museum of Science and Industry. I saw The King and I with Yul Brynner. That's how old I am, on stage in Chicago. So I love Chicago. I mean, and then my son and daughter-in-law lived in Chicago for about 6 years. Well, they lived in a suburb, but whenever we go visit them, then we take the train into Chicago because it was a lot easier than driving. We go to Cubs games. We would, just have dinner. We would do all sorts of fun stuff in Chicago. So we really like Chicago. And I mean, and not that we're as familiar with you being a native there, but it's someplace I've been. When I was a little girl, we would take the South Shore to go Christmas shopping. So yeah, I love Chicago, and I'm more familiar with it, so it was kind of fun to do.
Yeah, I was like being very honed in. I'm like, if there's something off, I'm going to pick it up immediately. I'm like, because my Chicago brain is now turned on full. I can go like, hold on, let me call my parents. Like, do you remember this place? Like, and that. I'm like, okay, we're at least.
So did I do okay?
Yes, you did excellent. Right? I was like, I could see, like, I could buy this, like, actually happening in Chicago. I'm like, I love Chicago. I love my city. It's funny that you mentioned that you were like going to Cubs games. I was like, I'm a diehard White Sox fan. Like, I'm from the South Side, so like, when the Cubs won, we were just like, my family was just like, okay, now you're gonna have to wait another 60 to 70 years. See you then.
Well, my family is really not Cubs fans. My daughter-in-law is a Cubs fan, and so they're kind of our second team. But Indiana doesn't have a team. So if you lived in Indiana, you were either usually up northern Indiana, you were either Tigers or Cubs. Sorry, nobody was White Sox. I'm not sure why, but they were. My husband is a diehard Red Sox fan. Now, he grew up in Mishawaka too, but he's a left-hander, and when he was very young, he got a Fred somebody glove, who was a left-hander for the Red Sox, and ever since he's been a huge Red Sox fan. Our kids are Red Sox fans. We've gone to Fenway multiple times, so that's really well. Our dog's name is Big Poppy after David Ortiz,
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's where our real allegiance is, but we still enjoy. I mean, Wrigley's a great stadium. We
It's an
did go
amazing
watch the Red
stadium.
Sox at the White Sox, and it was freezing cold. It was about 2 or 3 years ago. Oh my gosh, we about froze to death. But we did go, and your stadium's really big and nice. I forget it's like Colgate or something. What is it? What's the name?
Isn't it U.S. Cellular? Is that what the field is?
Okay,
Where the White Sox play? I think they changed ownership at some point.
It's a really nice big stadium, but there's something about Wrigley and Fenway that are just so neat because they're both old stadiums.
It like has a good nightlife scene too. Like so, like I know that's why a lot of people prefer Wrigley. It's like more in Chicago. White Sox Stadium's kind of like on the outskirts of the city. You kind of have to travel a little bit. A lot of people don't want to go that direction because like everyone knows Chicago is like one of those places where if you go to certain areas after certain times, it's gonna be like very much like watch out.
Well, I will tell you that a little bit of my research, which you're not gonna like this, was from Shameless.
Even though those people do exist in Chicago, like I know some people like that. I was like,
so I didn't base it all on that, but still, I mean, I tried to, a little bit. But I really had fun, and like I said, we've just been around Chicago almost all my life. So never lived there, but my son lived in the outskirts. Actually, one of my best friends lived north, Wicker Park, I think is where she was, and we'd go visit her. So I love Chicago.
Yeah, immediately when I started the series, I'm like, oh, it's set in Chicago. I was like, yes. Not because I could see the story like being moved to New York. I was like, okay, whatever. New York gets all the books focusing with characters in New York. I was like, where's the love for Chicago? I was like, I just like geeked out when I saw that. I was like, oh, I was like, I like this. I was like, I just loved it. Sorry, I just had to geek out about that for a moment.
All of my guys love Chicago. They all work to keep Chicago moving the way it's supposed to be moving.
So what made you use singular words for the titles of the books for the saga? Because I know you've done it before. You did it for the Infidelity series, and you do it for Consequences. But this one, and
I think the real question is what made me go to 2.
Yeah,
I was maybe that.
I was just thinking of that. I'm like, wait, now we're in the 2 words. So what is your thought process behind the single word titles?
I am not like I didn't go to school to be an author. There is a name for single word titles, and I can't even tell you what it is off the top of my head. It's just that it's kind of like my brand. And the same as the object covers. Right. So that's kind of my brand for my dark romance. My Into the Light and Away from the Dark, those were titled partially through Thomas and Mercer. So, I mean, I was involved in it, but they helped me with the titles. So, they're more than one word. But I guess it's because it's my brand. And then once the series started, I needed to keep going that direction. Secrets, Lies, and Promises was fine. But then once I did Twisted, Obsessed, and Bound, I couldn't just suddenly start naming things, different things. They all had to be single names.
Right.
But it was kind of fun with just coming up with the web names too. Web of Sin, Tangled Web, Web of Desire, and Dangerous Web. So that was fun too. But never, ever, ever name a trilogy Dusk, Dark, and Dawn.
I was just talking to Steph about this. I was like, I get the books mixed up in my head so easily. I was like, what's the order? Dusk?
I got it mixed up. What? I uploaded one wrong because I put the wrong name in it. I contacted the customer service and I'm like, I promise I will never, ever, ever name books so this close again. Can you help me change this? Because I messed it up. Yeah, it was. No, never, ever do that.
Because that was one of the things I was telling Steph before you hopped on. I was like finding your books on Amazon. If I forget the title of the book, I'm like, what's the second book? Like, hold on, let me. Like, if I type in secrets, I have to type in your author name too, and then I'm like, okay, now I can find the book because I was like, Aleatha, like, help me out. I'm trying to find you in my Kindle. It's like so many books. I was like, if I don't, I was like, okay, is this the second book? Especially the Dangerous Web trilogy. I'm like, I always have to have Goodreads up whenever I talk about that series because I'm bound to, like, flip the book or like say like,
Well,
oh
it
no,
actually
start with
says
this
on
book.
Amazon 1, 2, or 3. On Amazon, it says 1, 2, or 3 too. But if you think about it, dusk, it was getting dark. Dusk is before dark, dark, and then there's dawn. So it really is meant to be like, it's supposed to make sense.
Just before the dawn.
So it's supposed to make
Yeah,
sense. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah, dude, just like
But why
I'm
can't
bad
I
at
do it?
titles.
His 2 words was fun, and I came up with Devil's Deal, and then my friend at Wildfire said, if you decide to make it a trilogy, you should title the second one Angel's Promise. And I'm like, I love that. It's going to be, or not a trilogy, a duet. And I'm like, I love that. I'm going to do a duet now because then I have Devil's Deal and Angel's Promise.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I love
then, like,
getting
with the
2-word titles.
The Infidelity series is it starts off with A for her name and then B, C, D, E, F. Did you see that? Did you figure that one out?
Did you see that, Cheryl?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Aleatha, betrayal, cunning, deception, fidelity.
Yep.
now I feel like I'm like just like missing things left, right, and center. Like it just like goes right over my head, and I'm like, oh wait,
we totally blew his mind. It was great.
It's okay. Reading your books, I'm like always like I'm not gonna even try to predict what's gonna happen because I'm gonna be so wrong. So let's just enjoy. I'm just here for the ride. I could be over there like speculating with her like vision board, like going, this character probably goes over here, and this character is probably references that. I'm like, I'm not even gonna try. I'm just like my brain.
Well, you have to understand, I don't have a character board or a vision board or any kind of plotting involved at all. But I do love when I get reviews that say, "Oh, I saw that coming," and I'm thinking, "Well, I didn't. I wish you would have told me earlier what was writing it, so I would have known it was coming." So. I love writing and having something just happen. Like, oh my goodness. Like I start writing and that wasn't where I was planning on going, but something just, and I'm like, I love that. I mean, it's a great feeling to let the characters just go.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love that scene in Patrick's book. I want to say it's the second book for Patrick, where there's the balcony scene. I did not see that coming at all. And I was like, did Patrick just do that? Oh my goodness.
Can you give me a little more of a hint on what happened on the balcony? I forget. A little hint?
Where he kicks a person off?
Oh yeah.
Oh
okay.
yeah.
Oh, that balcony.
Like I just like balcony.
Yeah.
Like, hold on, wait. What scene are you talking about?
Well, I had one of my tried and true readers message me and say that it was too violent, and I messaged back and said, "They're mafia. They're not good guys. That's what happened. And besides, the other people were worse people. So, I mean, I'm not trying to make them come out as like, candy stripers here. I mean, that's what they do for a living. So yeah, you just got to see it, and Sterling helped.
Yeah,
I loved it. I was like, oh, I had to read it like 2 or 3 times. I was so excited. I was like, yes, Patrick.
You also have to understand that was Sterling's kind of coming to grips with who she was, and that they had a connection. So yeah, and that his mother. No spoilers. Okay, never mind. But yeah,
that mother was the worst.
Honestly, I love the Sparrows, and I could sit and talk about individual scenes and things like just comments back and forth between the guys that I just had so much fun. And I mean, really, the thing is Patrick was tried and true, but they would all give Sparrow a hard time about different stuff. And I mean, he'd take it from them, not always well, but he'd take it from them. And And I just love the women. I think all of the women are so wonderful and so strong. And I love their connection. I mean, I had probably as much fun with the women's connection as the men. And I mean, I just think that they've been, I mean, like, if I could live anywhere, I know people talk about Claire's Island, but I think I'd love to live in their glass tower. I just think it would be amazing to be with that many supportive people all around you. You still have your own private space, but you're still all one big family, really.
Yeah. So what made you come up with the tower sort of concept with the different levels and things like that?
I know. I don't know. I don't. I think that originally I pandered it after something, but I can't even tell you what that was now. I mean, I don't know if it was something I saw on a TV show or something I saw in a movie or read in a book, but it was just the idea that they had this space where they were together and they were safe, but yet they still had their own space. And I mean, then as the story progressed, it made so much sense because Sterling, you know, wanted his own space. And, but he had those 3 apartments. And so even in the first series trilogy, there's those 3 apartments there, but one of them's empty that they're not supposed to go into. So, I mean, it just, you know, it just all worked out really, really well.
And that's just a tribute to like how good like and not plotting, but like secretly plotting that you are, because like it all works. Like when you get to that 4th trilogy, you're like, how did she like what? Because it just ties everything so well together, and then like going back, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this and this and this connection. I was like, I can't compute right now like how like it made me want to go back and reread to see if I can like pick everything out. See like, okay, here's all our characters. Okay, and this is how we got to this point.
I'm honestly jealous of people who can start from the beginning. I'm jealous of people who can like just start as secrets and read all the way through and just have it all laid out for them. And by the way, you know, from our lips to God's ears, wouldn't it make a great Netflix series or an Amazon Prime series?
Yes.
Hello, Shonda, if you're watching.
Exactly.
I was like,
yes, please.
I mean, I don't know. I think that it's just so laid out, and there's enough, you know, just enough with all 8 characters, and as time, you know, you just keep bringing them in, and so yeah, 8, and then you know Ruby and other people involved too.
Yep.
Oh, it would be really good. Oh yeah, that would be. I'm just thinking about it. Like that would be really good for like a good binge show. Like you're just like, I need to watch every, because like you can end every episode on a cliffhanger because there's so many plot twists in this whole saga. There's so much to go over. I'm like, Shonda, you did How to Get Away with Murder. Do this show. Adapt this now.
Oh yeah, you did. Sorry, my daughter is trying to. My daughter is trying to duet me right now, and I'm trying to hang it up, and I don't know how to do it, so I'm just going to turn down the volume. Sorry about that. I'll call her back later. Now it's vibrating. So anyway, I really think it would make a great, but I don't want it to, I mean, like it wouldn't make a movie. It would make a series. You would need a series to really get to know all the Sparrow guys and understand them and get all the people involved. Yeah.
Definitely.
So if you know anybody, if you know Shonda, please be sure to tell her I'd be very interested.
Hey, not to like humble brag.
Although I've never watched Grey's Anatomy. But I love How to Get Away with Murder. I know, I'm sorry.
Hold on.
I'm sorry.
That kind of hurt my soul.
I love How to Get Away with Murder. Or not How to Get Away. I mean, no, it was
Scandal. How to Get Away with Murder. And
that's
great. I love that. But there's other ones.
Scandal.
Anyway, what's the other one?
Scandal, and then she did Bridgerton.
Hey guys, can I tell you something else about the second trilogy besides my military people helping me? My order is based off B613. Scandal.
Oh, I was like, is that Scandal reference?
Yes.
Oh,
Okay. Yep.
I see that now. Okay.
I do
You
see
see
it.
it?
Yes.
I see it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, it is really based. I mean, like, so I had the military help, but I also based my order on B613.
Yes.
Okay, that's really cool.
And
Charles is mind
honestly, at
blown
the
again.
end,
I'm just
and
mind blown again.
I can't think of his name, but the guy who's in charge of the order, the reason he came across, we never described him. I never told you what he looked like until the very end when Lorna meets him. And part of the
That's
reason
right.
Oh.
Papa Pope. Yes.
he was, yes,
Papa
he was
Pope.
Papa Pope.
Yes.
He was Papa Pope. So that was, and he always spoke like Papa Pope. I mean, because I had him like Papa Pope, but I never said what he looked like. I never said anything until the very end when Lorna meets him. But yeah, he's based off of Papa Pope.
Yep. And then if you think about it, with Reed being a black guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And he was good friends with his dad. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so that is, does that make a connection to all of that? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That makes so much sense.
love the order. I love the order already, but yeah, I mean, I was just like, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
wow.
someone messaged me and said that it was too much like someone else's series. And I said, well, I haven't read their series. I said, but maybe they watch Scandal just like I did.
Right.
Because, yeah, I mean,
there's lots of us that watch Scandal.
I was like, me and Steph are fans of Scandal. I'm like, wait, I didn't pick up on that until you said that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, B613, I was always intrigued with B613. Obviously, it was a big part of Scandal. And I love Scandal. Actually, Scandal's one of those stories that I love. It reminds me a little bit of how people talk about consequences, but I hated most of the characters, especially the two main characters. I hated Fritz and Olivia. Yeah. I did. I did. I didn't like them. I mean, number one, I didn't like that they were cheating from the beginning. And I'm not totally against cheating, but I don't like cheating. And then also I know, I'm sorry. But I love Papa Pope. And I loved a lot of other people. And I liked some of them, and then I changed my mind about liking them. But I love Scandal. Watched it to the very end. I don't know. Olivia and Papa Pope just had that. They would talk sometimes, and it was so preachy. And, sometimes you hated it, but there was other times with Papa Pope, I was like, I just love his monologues. I just love listening to him go on and on and on and on about things.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So, my guy who's the head of the order was kind of based on Papa Pope. And that's why he has the description he has at the end. And that's the entire order was based off of B613. So tell Shonda that. So, I kind of use her stuff, so she would, of course, want to do my stuff.
We've already based something,
she already knows how to get something, so she'll figure out the order really quick.
I can easily see her doing that and saying, like, this is secretly connected to my Scandal series, too. Like,
right?
It's an extension. You didn't know I had something else in the works.
Well, I don't know. Scandal was left kind of open-ended, and we've all been kind of like, we want some more. So,
and I don't know what I don't know the actor's name who played Papa Pope, but he's welcome to be in my show. I'd love to meet him.
So
I'll even let Jerry Washington come by once in a while if she wants.
So what character, what actors would you, if we were to build this television show, what 8 actors would you fan cast for your
I don't have them. I'm really bad at that. I know a lot of other authors do it. They do like these boards with pictures and stuff. I build up my people in my head, and I don't base them off of individual people. I did a little bit in Consequences because I thought that's what I was supposed to do, but I really don't. But I would have a really good time, and you're welcome to join me if we get to sit there and just interview, Sterlings and Patricks and Masons and Reeves. It may take a while. We may have to go through a lot of applicants, but I think that it would be worth doing.
I am down for the cause.
All right. I will call you when that happens.
Oh my god. You managed to blow our minds and then stab us through the heart with the Grey's Anatomy that you have not watched.
Yeah.
That hurt.
I'm sorry, I haven't. I'm sorry.
I was gonna let that go, Charles. I was gonna let that go.
I'm sorry. I just never have, and now it's just like so long. I kind of am like, I'd have to go in from the beginning, and there's so many stories I want, or things I want to watch. But I was gonna say, I do have one news. Basically, Michael B. Jordan is my read, and he has been my read since the beginning, because the first time Arani sees him, she describes him as Michael B. Jordan. So from that point on, he's kind of always been my read. Yep. But the rest of them, like I said, but I really would need to interview him first, Michael B. Jordan, before I let him have that part. I need to make sure he...
Just a lunch and a dinner.
Just like a casual lunch.
And breakfast, for that matter.
I mean, a weekend, we'll see. Don't tell Mr. Jeff.
Oh my goodness. So I was wondering too, can you give us some more details about your upcoming duet?
My upcoming duet? It's amazing. You don't want to miss it. Devil's Deal. Honestly, the way it started is Fate's Demand. There it is. Was originally entitled The Deal, and it was in One More Step, which was the Bookworm Box anthology. And when it came about, the idea was we were all supposed to showcase. We were all authors who had been in the Bookworm Box. And so they wanted us to showcase our writing style in a novella, so obviously something kind of small, but showcase our writing style all with the same first sentence, which I just thought was the coolest thing. So every first sentence was, one more step will mean certain death. So, I mean, I was kind of, what am I going to do? And my kids are great. My kids are super supportive and are wonderful. And my daughter was like, well, Mom, you do cliffhangers. Why don't you start and end on the same sentence? And I'm like, I kind of like that. I think I can work on that. So that's what I did. And so that's what made this. And so with this one, I mean, I knew once, and honestly, I've just started doing these little shorts, and I've never done them before. But once I write them, I want to write more. Like, I'm like, oh, I need to find out what else happens with these people, and I need to figure out what's going on. And so when I wrote this one, I was like, I want to know more. So that was kind of what, kind of birthed Devil's Deal and Angel's Promise. So basically, in a nutshell, it's an arranged marriage. The idea is that Fate's demand, Fate says that she is supposed to marry him. There we go, him. And she, of course, has never met him before they meet for the first time because, why not? That's what happens in fiction. And so their first meeting is a little intense. And then tad intense. If Jeff were here, he would say, no, it's not. It's in a restaurant because he likes to do dad jokes. But it is intense. In other words, intense. No. But it's in a restaurant. So they get to know each other a little bit. And then, basically he tells her, either you marry me or you're going to get killed if you walk out the door. And so it's not really hard to figure out that she decides to go with him and just see where this goes. So that's what Devil's Deal is. And then you also learn more about like what's happening, why they're where they are, what's going on with everything. And it goes into a second book. And that's it. 2 books. That's all. 2 books. And they're coming out May 18th and June 29th. So 5 weeks apart. 2 books. Not too long to wait in between. Not at all.
That's so long.
My first Consequences book came out in August of 2011. Truth came out in October of 2012, and Convicted came out in October of 2013. Do you remember back in the day where authors actually waited a year to release?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. 5 weeks. 5 weeks. That's not very long. 5 weeks.
Yes, I had a year to stalk Aleatha in the beginning.
Convicted?
Yes.
Is that what it was?
What was that?
Between Truth and Convicted, right?
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Wow. So like we're spoiled now as like current indie romance readers. We're like, what do you mean I had to wait a month for the next book? Like,
yeah, you are spoiled.
Should it only be coming out in 2 days? I'm like,
nope. Because what I need you to do is I need you to tell everybody in the world that you read Devil's Deal and that they need to read Devil's Deal and they need to be ready for Angel's Promise. So I'm giving you 5 weeks. That's your job. In 5 weeks, you have to tell every person in the world that they need to read Devil's Deal and Angel's Promise. It's a big assignment for only 5 weeks, but I think you guys can do it.
Yeah, I think me and Steph will be done with the first book in like a day. We'll be like, okay,
yeah.
I was like, where's the next book? Our reviews are up. I was like, hey, Aleatha, are arcs available or something?
I have a copy.
As I say, Steph may have one.
Steph, we're in the same state. I will come and just leave the books outside. I'll come and grab them and read them, and I may deliver them back to you.
Oh no! You're not messing with my collection. You're not messing with my collection, man.
Now, when I first came on before we were recording, I heard you talking about the books behind you. I'm behind you right now.
Yeah.
Did you move? I've been behind you before, but I'm not sure I'm always behind you. So did you move me there for this?
No, you
I like it. There. I like it.
That is your spot right there. That is your shelf.
Okay.
You are now down on this shelf as well.
Behind
actually, it's over on this side. Because I wasn't sure if this was going to be in screen or not, but this stack will be moved back where the candles are, and then you'll have the 2 shelves. that is the permanent placing.
I love it. I love her placing. Thank you. I'll never forget. I think Jeff found you. Jeff found Steph on YouTube one night. I'll never forget. He was like, oh, "You need to look at this. This lady's talking about you." And I start and he's like, "Look at this video." And I'm like, "Wow, okay." And from that point on, I mean, he's like, "Well, I think we should contact her." I'm like, "Well, we'll contact her." Well, and then we ended up being like at signings together quite a bit for a while. We were seeing each other a lot.
Yep.
But I mean, I still remember Jeff finding. I don't know how you popped up on something he was watching, and he was like, "Oh, you have to watch this." So.
My stalking skills after Consequences and Truth were like on point. I was like, I got to meet her. I must meet her. I need these books.
Well, back then, though, I was working a full-time job. So now my full-time job is writing. So 5 weeks is better than a year, don't you think, Charles?
That is. That is much better. That is much better.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But at least we're getting simultaneous release with the audio, hopefully.
Hopefully. I mean, it's supposed to be.
Steph knows that's my biggest problem. I'm like, where's the audio?
Yep.
It is supposed to be. I mean, I still don't understand why Fate's Demand isn't out. I know it's recorded. I know it's done. I don't know why it's not out on audio. I don't know if they're trying to wait and release that simultaneously with Devil's Deal now, since they missed the release of Fate's Demand. But again, I sell my rights to Audible, so once it's sold, like I just have to get them the manuscript, and then I don't have a whole lot of control after that, unfortunately. So I hope it's a simultaneous. I did my part. My stuff got to them in time, so it's up to them to get it done.
Hey, I will physically forgo the audiobook just to read the book physically. If I have to, I won't wait for the audio because I just need to know what's going on in this duology. And I have 5 weeks. That's enough time for me to physically read a book.
You can do it. I know you can.
5 weeks. It's not going to take you 5 weeks to physically read it. It's going to grab you, and you're going to be like, yes.
With the Kindle,
well, I mean, you guys have enjoyed the Sparrows, and I have too. I think they're wonderful. I absolutely adore Rhett too. I mean, Everett Ramsey's is, I mean, like he is Sterling and Knox and Tony all rolled into one. I mean, which
Ooh.
Knox and Tony are from other
Yes.
trilogies, but he's like my main alpha guy, all
Also,
rolled into one.
Charles, have you watched the originals?
I have.
Okay. Think Elijah, but not vampire.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. I need to read this now.
Yes.
Well,
See, that's the vibe that I got from Fates.
No, that's a great vibe because I love Elijah, but because I love the originals. I actually like the originals better than Vampire Diary, but we won't get into that because I've already upset you with.
Oh no, we're in agreement on that one. We're in agreement on that one.
That upset me. Vampire Diaries is near and dear. The originals, I'm like, you can be your spinoff, but Vampire Diaries, Elena and Damon. OTP.
No.
Caroline never really happened.
My mind is blank right now. The main guy,
Enzo, and then
main guy.
Klaus.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. So back to other things. I loved writing this about New Orleans. New Orleans is so fun. And this is not paranormal. It's not anything like that. But I brought in a lot of that kind of stuff because it's there. It's real. And I had so much fun with it.
Cressley Cole.
What was that?
I was like, as soon as you said New Orleans, I'm like, are Valkyrie going to show up? Is this like a Cressley Cole? Like, is she going to throw some Easter egg? I was like,
no, she says this because
paranormal.
She says this because after I read Fates, man, I was like, are we getting vampires? This is set in New Orleans. It's giving me the originals vibes. And am I gonna get some fangs somewhere? What am I getting bangs? Are you branching out into a paranormal, Aleatha? What
I am not branching out into paranormal. If I ever did, I would go spend at least a month living in New Orleans because I really think it's the place to do it. I've been to New Orleans multiple times, and I don't know if you guys heard, but there was this pandemic happening, so I wanted to go to New Orleans, but it's not exactly easy to get there right now because, well, especially when I first was writing this, and we're in Florida. So think about the map. Florida, New Orleans. I mean, like, we're just across the Gulf. It's not that far, right?
Yeah.
It's a 12-hour drive. A 12-hour drive. So I didn't make it, from where we live here. So I did not make it to New Orleans while I was writing it, but I've been to New Orleans multiple times, and I would love to go back. But yeah, I kind of brought in some aspects of New Orleans, and so when you read it, you'll see that. But it's so fun, and it's so neat, and it's just fun to have like these other vibes going on. And New Orleans is unique, and I mean, you can't write New Orleans like you're writing Chicago. Like, it's not the same place. So it was fun.
That's true.
Yeah, I had fun with it.
Wow. Would you ever go into full on paranormal?
I don't think
Valkyries, Faye, give it all. Just go there. Just go. Because now I'm going to read the novella and be like, she has to do paranormal. Like, this is like the natural progression of things.
I don't think so, but I have learned to never say never, so I'm not going to say never. Again, if I ever wrote paranormal, and I said this last time we were in New Orleans, because we had a wonderful tour, a wonderful ghost tour. We've taken it twice. And it starts across the street from wherever the hurricane, everybody gets their hurricanes, I can't remember. But we had this guy in this like duster jacket, and he acts like, you know, and it's not like, I've been on some kind of fakey ghost tours around the world where they're like, oh, you know, feel this and see, watch this door close by itself. Yeah. How does that door close on every damn tour? I'm sorry, every tour. I mean, that just doesn't make I think unless the ghost is on your payroll, you're faking this stuff. But in New Orleans, it was just, you got the vibe. I mean, there was a vibe there that was really, really cool. And so if I ever were to write paranormal, I think I would love to go and spend 2 weeks or a month in French Quarter. I mean, I think that would be the most amazing thing in the world to do that. So I don't know. That's not in my plans, but I'm not going to say it's never going to happen.
Okay. So as soon as this pandemic ends, I should be seeing on your social media that you're going to New Orleans
You
for
will
a
find
couple
me in New
weeks.
Orleans eating oysters and drinking and I can never talk. I'm terrible about, but those the little bonnets, I think they're called
Beignets.
with this
Beignets.
sugar.
That
Oh
is-
yeah, I love those things. So yeah, yeah, you'll find me
So
down
me
there.
Me and Steph are going to be on it. We're going to remember. I'm going to put a reminder in my calendar as soon as everyone gets vaccinated and we can move back to normal. I'm like, Aleatha, why aren't you in New Orleans? Like, we're waiting for that paranormal.
We are vaccinated. We're not 100% until a week from Monday, but we have had our second vaccination. We used to travel through American Airlines all the time, and they sent me an email, and they were like, Iceland for, I don't know, $244 a round trip. And I looked at Jeff, and I'm like, we need to go to Iceland. He's like, no, we don't. And I'm like, why not? We have been in this house and the other house for a whole year and a half, and I'm ready to go someplace.
Yeah.
So yeah. But
Oh my
I don't know.
goodness.
It'll either be New Orleans or Iceland. We'll see what happens.
You can do vampires in Iceland. Yeah. You can make them like
There you
Nordic, Viking. Oh no, that's a good one. Viking romance.
Either way, Eric was
either way,
my
you get a good
favorite on
romance
True
out
Blood.
of it.
Did you guys watch True Blood?
I did. You haven't?
Nope.
You didn't watch
I
True
haven't read
Blood?
the book. I didn't watch the book. I didn't watch the television show, nor did I read the books.
I did both. They didn't go together. And I actually met the author at an RWA and talked to her about it. And she gave up her rights, early on in the series. So she kept writing her series, and the TV show went a different direction. And in reality, I didn't hate it because it wasn't like by reading the books I ruined the TV show, because I didn't know what was going to happen on the TV show because it wasn't the same.
Right.
But on TV, I loved Eric. In the books, he was a jerk. Yeah.
That hurts. I love Eric in the TV show.
Well, I love Eric in the TV show. Me too. And I love Alexander Skarsgård in anything. But no, in the books, he's not he ends up not being very nice. So yeah. But that's set in Louisiana, in Shreveport, outside, not too far from New Orleans. So, just the perfect setting for all of those.
Right.
Right.
But I'm not writing a paranormal. I wrote a romance. Read the book.
Now I just want to put out a review saying like, this book, Aleatha's upcoming book, like it's technically it's
not a paranormal.
A paranormal.
It's not.
If you
It's
see
not.
on
No,
page
it's not.
20, he has like angular teeth and he tries to bite the female. It's like super really.
There may be some biting going on.
There's some nipping going on.
Maybe a little bit of biting, but not for substance. No.
Oh my. But thank you so much, Aleatha, for coming on my channel. It's been such a blast talking with you. And for everyone who's watching this video, I will link all her social media links down below, as well as the link so you can go purchase the book, because the video will be releasing the day that the book is being released. So go buy it after you watch this video, or go buy the book and read it, and then come back and discuss with us.
Yes, and follow me on TikTok. I have 700 followers right now. I'm trying to get to 1,000. Hopefully by the time this airs, I'm at 1,000. So follow me on TikTok. Yay.
I'll link that down below as well. But thank you so much, Steph, as well, for coming on my channel as well. And I will catch you guys all with a brand new video. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.